republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Staff, may we have a roll call, please?
Yeah. Well, everybody's here, but we'll go from left to right. Barbara Krupa.
Here.
Sophia Gelman. Sophia.
Here.
Yay. Esther Baum.
Here.
Joy Newell.
Here.
Lee Walkup.
Here.
Bernice Levin.
Here.
Pat Dixon.
Here.
And John Allendorfer.
Here.
Yay.
Excellent. Do we have any adjournment motions honoring those of importance to us? Yes, John.
Yeah, hi. I would like to make an adjournment in memory of the 22 victims from Manchester, England, in the memory of them.
Yes. Yes. Do we have any other adjournment motions?
Yes, I would like
Yes,
to.
Pat.
I would like to make an adjournment in the memory of Dina Merrill, who died.
Do we have any other adjournment motions? Okay. None more appearing, then we'll proceed with the approval of the agenda. And we're asked to approve the agenda for the meeting today. Have everyone looked at his or her agenda and consider it valid, or we need to make changes? Any changes?
I approve the minutes for today.
Okay.
I second it.
Okay, we've been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the agenda minutes for today? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, motion is carried. Now we'll have approval of the previous minutes for the meeting that took place on the 26th of April. And we should all have had an opportunity to look at those and consider that they're valid as stated, or that we have some changes or corrections to them. Do we have any changes or corrections that anyone knows of? Or do I hear a motion to approve them as stated?
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, John makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Bernice seconds the motion. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Any abstentions? Okay, the minutes of the previous meeting are approved as submitted to us. Okay, now we have an opportunity for board member introductions so that everyone knows who we are. Before we get into that, I would like to have our dedicated city staff be recognized by our board as giving so much to us and making sure that we are prepared and ready to go and to have our thoughts carried forward to City Council. Not here at the moment, I don't see her anyway, is our Board Secretary Kim Patterson, our Social Services Liaison Corey Roskin, and our Social Services Representative Leslie Eisenberg. Thank you very much.
I
Thank
second
you.
it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, if we can start with John Allendorfer in terms of introductions.
Thank you. Thank you for the people here and for the viewing audience. My name is John Allendorfer, also known as Jack to some family and friends. I am originally from Pennsylvania. I've been in West Hollywood for 38 years. After I left Pennsylvania, I went to Arizona State University, where I got my BA in sociology, and I lived briefly in New York City and San Francisco. I came to LA, and before West Hollywood was a city, but I got involved early. From the very beginning, I was on the first Gay and Lesbian Advisory Board, Telecommunications Board. I also wrote as a medical editor for The Optimist, which was put out by the AIDS Foundation. Throughout the years, I've been a community activist, speaking at meetings, taking a couple of workshops from the city. I ran for city council in 2014. I've been on this board for 2 years, and I really love it. It's exciting. And I'm also a SAG-AFTRA card member. I am an apartment manager, kind of semi-retired. And also, what I want to stress is this program that I've been working on, the Well WeHo, which is Well WeHo is the public name of the Recreations Department's Initiative Wellness at Any Age. It's one of the first new projects to come out of the West Hollywood Aging in Place strategic plan. And this project recognizes that wellness is not defined by age, but is an ongoing process that can begin at any age. And Be Well WeHo, which you'll see signs and t-shirts in the future, will comprise an expanding and diverse collection of activities focused on helping adults who live or work in West Hollywood. And Memory class is as the newest member for 2 years, and we're great.
My soon-to-be ex-husband and son, and became a hippie, and I was a failure at that. So I moved to LA, and in between I traveled, and I lived in Spain for a couple of years. I was trying to write a novel, and anyway, I came back to LA. I came to LA and my life really began. I was 38 years old, and life was so different here. You know, when I lived in Los Angeles, I didn't live in West Hollywood at the time. I lived on Genesee, which is, you know, near Fairfax, and I never knew what was going on in the city. I didn't really care. I was working in the legal department at Fox, and I was doing catering, and then I moved to West Hollywood, and everything is so different here. You're really almost forced to get involved if you have any time on your hands. And when I retired, because of Barbara Krupa, I joined the Senior Advisory Board. But I've always been active. I was the director of the Design Alliance to Combat AIDS, and we put on 2 big fundraisers, one with Bette Midler and one with Tommy Toon. And so I've always been involved in the affairs of West Hollywood, and I really love living here because I may disagree with the policies, but I know I have a voice. And the only way I can voice my voice is to be involved, go to the city council meetings, join a board, argue with people, be friends to people. You know, it's a whole world. So I've been retired for about 10 years, and I'm very happy here. And I love what John was talking about because I'm going to take some of the classes, and it's open to all of us. And it's not prohibitive, which is great. You know, we can do anything we want after we retire. So thank you.
Thank you. Barbara, may we have your introduction, please?
Oh, really? Well, that was a surprise. And boy, my computer refused what I was going to say, so I had to write it out, which is very interesting to print now because I can't read my writing. And I am Barbara Krupa, and I've been on the Senior Advisory Board for about 17 years. Is that right? Yeah, something like that? Mm-hmm. It's like give or take a year or two. I've just been here forever. And and it all started when a friend saw an article in the local paper. And so I came to one of the board meetings, and Rick Rickles at the time was chair. And I knew Rick from an acting class, so I just kind of felt at home. And I was interviewed by all of the council members, and before I knew it, I was on the board. And it's very interesting to read what I wrote last night and think, well, this is true. When really true, when I got on the board, I really thought this is my way of giving back to the city that I love. I can do something for, I was a relatively new senior at the time. I refused to admit I was a senior, but boy, I am now, and I take advantage of it. And when I first got on the board, it was really confusing to me. I don't know why. I had been in business, and I was a real estate agent, so it shouldn't have been, but I had been retired for a while, and so it was confusing until we really all got together, and then we had our health fair. I think that's when it started, about 17 years ago. And they're gone now, Warner and, what's my favorite little guy? Rocky. I loved Rocky. And we had gotten together, and Bernice, and I think there was someone else also. My memory fails me. And we went down to the local paper at the time, and we were able to get an article in at least once a month about the board, and hoping that seniors would read this article, come to our meetings, come with ideas and complaints, and they did. They came with, those who came, some of them brought their complaints, and which is good, you know. I ignored it, so it was fine. That was fun. That really was a lot of work and a lot of fun. And I've been vice chair of this board. I've been chair, and I was a liaison to the rent stabilization for 5 years, and I was their mascot, I think, and I was just always there, and I learned so much. To get involved with the city is an eye-opener, because I never liked politics, but I just love city government, because that involves, as I see it, the people that live here. And so what else did I do? Oh, yes. I was honored as Senior of the Year. I don't remember what year it was. I'm glad that I can remember that I was Senior of the Year. And all of that was due to that article in the paper. And a friend who didn't want to come to the meeting, she went to another meeting somewhere. She's disappeared. I have been here for 17 years, but I raised my kids here. I've been here. I've been in Los Angeles since 1952. I've lived mostly in West Hollywood before it was a city. And like I said, I raised my sons here. And I really love this city. And I'm so glad to see all of you that are here. And I hope you enjoy the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Sophia?
I am the only Russian-speaking Jewish immigrant as a member of our advisory board for more than 23 years, who understand fully how happy I am because our city is so devoted to all of problems we met in our life here and react properly. You helped us in studying English. It is very important. Then, when there was a disastrous situation and immigrant teens at Plummer Park were provided by someone with drugs, I asked the city for a teen center and asked our sheriff department to take care of them. It was an immediate response, and now we have a very perfect teen center. While studying English and having many of writers and poets in our society, we asked the city for a possibility to publish our writings. Immediately, we had an early perfect journal for that, and we bow low to our Corey for his artistic and professional work. Our SEB is the first step to make any changes in the city, and our involvement make us thoughtful and creative. I would suggest making a motto for our city: don't be an outsider. Then we will see more and more our energetic people being involved in our problems. For that I wrote a poem, Don't Be an Outsider. How could a mother be an outsider when her child is inexperienced and wanders? She shows him how to distinguish a fly from a spider, a truth from a lie, and understand the standards. How could a teacher be an outsider when his students are illiterate and hopeless. He explained to them what to do to be wiser. He teaches them the secrets for achieving success. Our patriots and heroes were not outsiders. When our country was in trouble or in war, they fought bravely, not for prizes. They deserved admiration in the highest scores. I myself can't be an outsider while thinking of homeless people in need. It's a time to spread this issue wider and find a way to help and be involved indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophia. Esther?
Esther Baum, 22-year member of the senior board and a 27-year resident of West Hollywood, born 92 years ago with my twin brother in LA, and my parents were married in LA. I took the class to become certified in landlord-tenant law, and for several years worked every Wednesday night at the senior center counseling people on their rights as a tenant. I am an accountant, and I volunteered to go to the class every year and prepare senior tax returns 2 days a week from January through April 15th. I'm a neighborhood watch captain of 25 years and have National Night Out, which I'm doing again this year. I've taken part in many West Hollywood events and look forward to many more.
Thank you, Esther. Joy?
My name is Joy Newell with John Allendorfer. I am the new kid on the board. John has been on for 1 year, if I'm correct. I've been on 2. Okay, that makes me 3 years old. I'm a Bruin and a Trojan, and if you're from Los Angeles, you know what that means. And I, too, with other members of the board, have been in West Hollywood since before it became a city. It was part of a county. Professionally, I was a Spanish teacher, so I guess I'm with Sophia and her Russian, and me and my Spanish, we have a few languages present here. And I was a news broadcaster here in Los Angeles before CNN. Some of you who have been here a long time used to listen to KFWB and hear me on the radio. And being a broadcaster, I know how to make it short. So that's it, Lee.
Thank you very much, Joy. Okay, Bernice, our vice chair.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for attending. My name is Bernice Levin. I came here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I worked, raised 2 daughters. After 27 years with the telephone company, with AT&T, I still wanted to do some work. So I worked at a shop over where the, what's the name of that restaurant?
The French Market.
The French Market. I worked there, and I loved it. I met so many people in there. And then I thought, I was looking in the newspaper one evening, and I saw an ad for a job over at the Plumber Park. So I thought, gee, that sounds nice. So I called them. They says, well, write us a description of your assets. And I said, I can't write that. I never wrote one in my life. Just write something about yourself. So I did. I presented it to Vivian Sauer. She was the head of the JFS, Jewish Family Service. I got the job. Marina, it was so wonderful working with you for 23 years. I loved it. And I became the assistant activity director. The reason I'm mentioning this is because I hope all of my friends and acquaintances from Plumber Park are listening now. I miss you. Why don't you come to our meetings? We have wonderful meetings here. And that way I could get to see you. And if you have any questions, we will try to answer them. So that's the reason I kind of put all of this in. Then one day I heard about the SAB meetings. And I thought, gee, that sounds great. I'm the type of person I like to be around people. And so I was invited to come to the meetings with someone from Plumber Park. And right away, I loved it. I was chosen to be on the board, and that was maybe 10, 14 years that I'm still here. During all this time, I still was working at Plumber Park. Then I also got chosen to be on Senior Buzz. We had a radio program on television, not radio, it was television. And I was chosen to introduce people, interview them and all. My first interview was with, from Golden Girls, that was...
B. Arthur?
No, the little one that carried the little purse all the time.
Estelle Getty.
Yes. And so it was wonderful. I was with that program for a few years. I hated to see it leave because I really enjoyed all the fun and meeting so many people. So right now, oh yes, this is important. When I was 88 years of age, I was told, well, no more job at Plumber Park, because they were going to bring in other people and so forth. So I had to retire from there. I really was very sad about retiring from there because I loved my job. Right, Marina? And so I'm happy with the retirement. I am now living in an assisted living place, which is great. And there I have been chosen as the ambassador of the place. So when we have people come in, new people, I get to know them, I show them around, and that's what I like to do. But as far as being with the Senior Advisory Board, I would miss terribly if I weren't here once a month. I have met so many wonderful people, board members here. Some of them are no longer with us, but right now we just have a wonderful group, and I hope I remain here for many, many years in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernice. My name is Lee Walkup, and I am the current board chair, 25-year resident of West Hollywood. I'm a native of the area. I went to UCLA, became a naval officer thereafter, and earned a master's degree and a second master's degree, one at University of Idaho and the other at Utah State. I have been a professional travel agent for the last 43 years, And my other activities include 28 years in the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles, which is homed in West Hollywood, right up on Sunset Boulevard. And I'm also interested in state and national politics, and I've just returned from a state convention this last weekend and was helping my housemate collect probably more than 1 barrel full of delegate hotel toiletries, and we donated them to a local battered women's, homeless, and children's shelter. We've done this now for 7 years, and it's so important because it shows that the way you keep young, even though you're a senior, is that you do things. And I think every member of the board today has expressed that belief that we're here because we do things and we stay young by doing. I noticed that it's time for public comment, but I think I have an idea from Corey first.
You do. Well, first of all, can we thank the Senior Advisory Board members for their service?
Thank you.
It was great hearing from all of you. We have a few of our illustrious council members here.
I thought I had
so-
saw some people enter.
Yeah, so I think we're going to bring Mayor John Howman, Councilmember Lindsay Horvath, and Councilmember Lauren Meister up to the mic to say a few words.
We do. We have a quorum of the city council present today.
Yay. The 3 blondes on council.
Mr. Mayor, our Mayor Emeritus, and Councilmember Horvath.
And none of them is a senior citizen. Yet.
That's not true. AARP sends me something every month telling me I am. So we just are here to thank you for your service and for the work you do all year round. I know this is the annual televised meeting, but we really appreciate the work that you do every month, and we have a whole series of activities and programs, so thank you for your efforts, and thank the staff who also works on senior programs all year long. I also want to recognize Sophia, who was just honored this weekend at the Russian Cultural Festival. That was a great honor and well-deserved. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues, and I know they want to say a few words, and I'll be back up as we present the awards.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lindsay Horvath.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for allowing me to address you all this afternoon. It's wonderful to celebrate Senior Month with you, and it's always a wonderful time of year to not only recognize all of our older adults in the community, but to thank all of you for your service. There are so many ways that each of you is engaged in the community. Barbara Krupa, I know we share a love for musical theater. Sophia, you've been dedicated in so many ways, including at our teen center at Plummer Park. Esther Baum has been at every Democratic Club meeting, I think, ever, and brought deviled eggs to boot. Joy, you share your love of reading in the library with our entire community, and we thank you for that. Lee, you just shared one of the many, many ways that you so contribute, but your voice in the Gay Men's Chorus is completely unmatched. Bernice, your warm heart and the way you welcome everyone in the community and you make everyone feel a part of West Hollywood is just so much a part of who you are, and we thank you for that, and I appreciate deeply your service. Pat, your sense of humor, I can't get over. You just keep people laughing and bring a smile to everyone's face, and I appreciate how your service to our community. And John, as one of the newest members of the board, you have brought a unique perspective, but truly a deep passion for service, and I'm so grateful to be able to work with you and every single member of the board. So thank you so much for your service. You become family to me, and I deeply appreciate all that you do. I grew up in a small town, in the same small town as my grandparents, and I learned at a very young age how much we benefit from intergenerational relationships. And so I thank you for the ways that you have all been friends to me and how you serve our community. We cannot thank you enough for all that you do. And a deep appreciation, of course, always to our staff who make this board's work possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Emeritus Mayor Meister.
Hello.
So I just wanted to come and just show my support and say thank you for everything you do. Joy, we've known each other for many, many years, and I too have been followed by ARP. I don't know what to do about that. I've been trying to lose them, but they keep finding me. And, you know, many of you might know that I live with my parents. My parents live in the guest house behind my home, and it's just really wonderful to have family. And it's funny because everyone thinks that, isn't that great that you're there for them, but the truth of the matter is they're there for me. And they have been doing so much, especially since I've been, you know, elected, you know, feeding Spike when I'm not home and taking care of things at home. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate, you know, that we all have so much to give at every age. And so again, thank you, and have a great meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, now we have an opportunity for public comment. I so far have one public comment slip. If you would like to make a public comment later, we will have an opportunity near the end of the meeting for additional public comments. At the moment, I have a slip from Marina Berkman. Would you come and tell us what you'd like to tell us?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Marina Berkman. I'm the director of West Hollywood Comprehensive Service Center, Jewish Family Service. And I'm here to congratulate you on very successful senior months. And I know that you all played a very significant role in strategizing and bringing that to fruition, and you planned ahead. You had special committees with the help of the staff of the city, Leslie and Corey, and the staff from our center. Nancy Desser was part of that planning committee. So it was great. Everything went on successfully, and you played a very big role in that. And thank you for that, and congratulations. And overall, I just wanted to tell you how much we appreciate collaborating with the Senior Advisory Board, especially in the light of aging in place, aging in the community, a strategic 5-year plan recently, a year ago, accepted by the City Council. So you are the voice of the community, and we provide services to the community. And I'm sure that together we will be able to make the goal of this strategic planning happen, to help people stay in their own homes, to age in the community as much as they can, as long as they can. With your support, with you bringing their issues to the board and to the attention of the council, and to connecting them with us, with our services, and then we'll do the rest. And one of the aspects of our work is to make the lives of the seniors in the city more fulfilling. And today, Nancy Desser was not able to come in, so I'm doing her job. I will bring you an update about the remaining events of this quarter. We have just months of June ahead of us, and I'm sure you all have those newsletters. We're currently working on the next one. But just as a reminder, free blood pressure screening, glucose and cholesterol screening from Cedars-Sinai will be provided on Tuesday, June 20th, from 10 to 11:30 in the senior lounge in our building in Plummer Park. Then the movie club, English Movie Club, will present the movie Trumbo on Wednesday, June 21st at 1 p.m. in room 2 in Plummer Park. And we know that many of you appreciate music professor from USC, Thomas Mason. His next lecture will be about Frank Sinatra, and it will happen on Wednesday, June 28th at 1 p.m. in room 2. Just keep in mind, remind everybody, and come over and enjoy. And that's very important, to have some enjoyable events in your life. And in addition to the activities being a member of the Senior Advisory Board. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have an opportunity for new business now, and our first item of new business is Leslie Eisenberg, who will tell us about a brief overview of the 2017 senior activities.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be able to report on the successes of our events and activities for Senior Month, May 2017. We are at the end of the month, and this is the busiest week for all of our events and activities. We kicked off Senior Month at the City Council meeting back on May 1st, when we had the AARP hold a reception upstairs, and the city was presented with an award from the AARP on being an age-friendly community. And then we came down here to the City Council meeting, and as you know, we were Senior Month was recognized by the City Council as well. Last week we had the Senior Health Fair. It was our 16th annual, and many of you were there volunteering in various capacities, and we always appreciate that. It was quite a successful event. I want to do a little bit of the Senior Health Fair by the numbers. We had a slight, what appeared to be a little bit of a downturn in numbers, but not significant. It's hard to know if it was, a smaller number of people showing up or if it was just paced differently, but we estimate that there were about 425 people at the event last week. And the event, as you know, had a multitude of different screenings offered by Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, the Saban Community Clinic, and the SCAN Health Plan. And then we had about 40 or so different nonprofit organizations that serve the community and serve seniors specifically in rooms 5 and 6 at Plummer Park, and that is always super active, lots of really good information being provided to folks. But the crux, the real core of what we do at the health fair is to offer screenings to people who might not otherwise get these very important health screenings, and those are the numbers I want to share with you. Cedars-Sinai offered blood glucose, blood pressure, and a cholesterol screening to 184 seniors last week. The SCAN Health Plan offered a stroke and thyroid screening to 91 different people. We had a podiatrist on site who checked the feet of 40 people, so 80 feet. And we had the Saban Community Clinic there for a really important screening, which is a dental screening. And 38 people were seen at the dental screening. And oftentimes these screenings, things get detected in these screenings that are cause for concern or further investigation and evaluation. And so in many cases, Saban will continue to see the clients, for example, that they noted at the health fair as needing some additional care, and Cedars and SCAN the same. So a very successful senior health fair yet again. Yesterday we had a new effort, a new event called Connections and Community, and it was an effort to bring community members out who are experiencing some disconnectedness, some perhaps loneliness and isolation. This is the phrasing that we were originally trying to address, but rather than the glass being half empty, we turned those two words, loneliness and isolation, on its head and came up with connections and community and looked at ways to get people in our community more deeply connected to one another. I thought it was a great event. Many of you were there, and I think folks came away really understanding how they can get more connected through volunteerism, through attending meetings, through being involved in civic engagement, and some really great ideas came out of that meeting in terms of what we can do next. So we had a really fabulous facilitator, Kathy Berger-Kay, lead that, and I think you'll all agree, I'm seeing nodding heads, that it was a very good first step in this way, and staff will look at ways to move forward with that. And then Corey is going to talk about our final event for Senior Month, which is going to take place this Friday. Thank you.
I'm still stuck on the 80 feet. So Friday, we're going to have an event in this room. It's called It's Never Too Late to Try Something New, Late Life Reinventions, Reflections, and No Regrets. And it is 3 incredible women, authors, talking about their recent books and some common themes about things that happen later in life with them, or in the case of one of the authors, about Joan Kroc and all the philanthropy work she did later in life. And these women are fantastic. One of them was on Bill Maher's show last week. Lisa Napoli is another one who's an NPR correspondent. Meredith Moran has written like 15 books, so it should be really exciting. We've got a huge RSVP, but there's still openings, so if folks want to come, there's some flyers out there. And we hope you'll RSVP, but if you don't, you can just also show up. So anyway, that's what's coming up, and that'll end our Senior Month.
Very good. Thank you, Corey. I might add that Corey assured me that there were a number of lunches served. He's been busily making lunches for a long time and keeping them ready for everybody. And we had over 400 people for our senior health fair last week. I know Corey has tired fingers, but he's reinvigorated. Okay, now we have an opportunity for a senior story. Charlie Becker will be reading The Color of Los Angeles, which has been taken from a 2017 Senior Stories WeHo publication.
Yeah, and
Charlie,
I just want to
please.
mention, as Charlie's coming up, we've been doing this publication for many years. They're stories written by local seniors. Charlie's contributed many times, and he'll be reading his poem. Take it away.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I've lived in West Hollywood for 25 years, and I taught at West Hollywood Elementary School for many of those years. I'm so grateful that the city encourages poets to write, and I was one of the 100+ who collaborated on the poem that's posted all around the city. The name of this poem is The Color of Los Angeles. Each poet takes a turn and reads out loud from his own creation here. The city anticipates this like an impending earthquake, or better yet, a plate of warm food simmering on the horizon. And we write the details always in colors as bright as mustard seeds and spaghetti squash soup, warm yellow around the clay bowl, shrill piccolos, high ochre sounds, dancing on the tortilla-baked town square, salsa to the beat of corn tamales, chips and dips, guttural lemon laughter outside Catholic candles and their blanched, aging churches in the dusk light of Olvera Street, all before we speak. Thank you.
Thank you. I know we have a representative from the Senior Activity Center, Senior Center Activity Program. Do we have someone to talk about the
I think since Nancy couldn't make it,
arena?
Yeah, since Nancy wasn't able to make it, Marina covered those items when she
Okay,
spoke
very
under
good.
public comment.
Okay.
And I just want to mention, Lee, there are some copies of the Senior Stories WeHo on the table back there. I have some up here too, but if you want to grab one, feel free to take one.
Okay, that brings us to the opportunity to hear from our mayor, Mayor Heilman, who's going to be presenting a senior award to Frank Galassi. Mayor Heilman.
I'm going to ask my colleagues to come down and join me for this, because I like to put them to work. It's my great pleasure and honor to present a Senior Month Award to Dr. Frank Galassi. He's affectionately known as Dr. Frank. He's a West Hollywood resident who's been a member of the senior services at the LGBT Center for more than 15 years. He is a strong advocate for seniors, especially LGBTQ seniors. He initially joined an acting class at the center, but soon became a volunteer. And after volunteering for 4 years, he developed his Brain Power Project class, and that helps seniors with memory challenges, and the class is now in its 5th year and continues to be one of the most popular classes at Senior Services. Dr. Frank has been a college university professor for most of his life. He's still practicing as a therapist with a particular focus on aging and education. He also serves as board president of his condo association, something I've done, and that is really, truly a calling if you've ever been on the board of your condo association. Dr. Frank has helped seniors access services, connect them with programs in West Hollywood. He has driven people to appointments. He speaks on their behalf. He is truly a most deserving honoree for this year's West Hollywood Senior Month Award. Dr. Frank, can you please join me so we can present you with this plaque in recognition?
And before Frank says a few words, we also have Stephanie Cohn here from Supervisor Sheila Kuehl's office, and Stephanie has, a couple certificates to present. So, Trip, do you want to get those photos first? Then we'll get Stephanie up there. Okay. Photo ops. And so Stephanie has something to present to you as well, Frank.
Hi. Hello, board members, chair, how are you? Good. I'm here on behalf of Supervisor Kuehl to present this certificate to Dr. Frank. Supervisor Kuehl thanks you for your service to the LA LGBT Center, to the West Hollywood community, and to your fellow community members. So I'm honored to present this scroll to you. And then I also have one from Assemblymember Richard Bloom. His staff wishes that they could be here today to present this to you. Assemblymember Bloom is in Sacramento serving this great city. So thank you for the time to present this to you.
And we will also be going downtown with Frank next week. The LA County honors seniors from all over the county, and he will be our West Hollywood representative at a special event next Tuesday at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. So many honors for Frank this month. Posing, posing. Great.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored to receive this award. At about 1983, I was a fellow at the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology at SC. And oh my gosh, I guess I was in my 40s then. And you know, you finish a semester of gerontology and you think, okay, now I understand aging. Oh my gosh. I really didn't understand aging, including my very own aging, until I went to the Village Senior Services at the LA LGBT Center. And then I was looking, you know, at 65, 66. What I learned about my own community, the LGBT community, was, first of all, there was isolation. Don't forget that's 15 years ago, 14 years ago. There was marginalization, which we still experience. And there was tremendous community for those of us who attended the Village. And then I really started to understand what gerontology was. I've been so educated through my experience at the village. I'm going to continue to do as much as I can for all seniors, but in particular for the LGBT community. Tripp will tell you, our activities director, that about 2 weeks ago, I invited one of our staff, a transgender woman, to address my brainpower group. And what I learned after, I got phone calls from members of our group saying, "Oh my gosh, Frank, I'm so glad that you invited this wonderful transgender woman to speak with us, because you know, those of us who are 65 plus, 75 plus, 85 plus, and I do have a 92-year-old man in the group, we are not familiar with this new concept of the transgender person." I'm just using this as an example of how we need the education. So I want to thank everyone. I'm really elated over this. But as I said, I learned community once I went to the village. It wasn't there at the university in 1983 or 84, but I've learned it in working with the senior community. So thanks very much, really.
Dr. Frank, thank you. We now have another Senior Stories WeHo, and Tamara Gurovic will read To the Promised Land from also the 2017 Senior Stories WeHo publication. Tamara?
I got.
If you'll pull the microphone down in front of you. Thank you.
Maybe.
There we go.
I got an unforgettable tour about 19 years ago. To my regret, I didn't write a diary and didn't mark my pictures, on the date of pictures, on the pictures. That is why I don't remember exact dates. It was a cruise through the Black and Mediterranean seas on a big, comfortable ship. We had a good time when the ship was in transit from one port to another. We were swimming in the pool, listening to music, and dancing in the showroom every evening. We had a good weather during the trip. We ate at a fancy restaurant. But visiting different notorious towns with their ancient monuments was more interesting. We visited many countries such as Turkey, Cyprus, Greece, Egypt, and Israel. We saw the Parthenon in Greece and the pyramids of Egypt. We looked at the sunset nearby the pyramids when the sun went behind the Sphinx. It was a wonderful view. But the main point of interest was visiting Israel. We have been to all blessed places: Bethlehem, where Jesus was born, Nazareth, where he grew up and began to propagate, and of course, Jerusalem. We went to the Calvary along the road of suffering, Via Dolorosa. It was very exciting, like we touched the ancient history, felt the sound and spirit of the Bible. We went to the Wailing Wall, the relic of Judaism. We saw the King David's tower. Every stone, every old tree says the memories about human history. And it is particularly terrible and unbelievable that this sacred place, the cradle of civilization, is fueled by terrorism and cruelty nowadays, and innocent people perish and perish every day. But let us come back to our journey. Most of the people who took part in that journey were impressed by what they saw and heard from our perfect guide. It was no wonder that our tour was named to the Promised Land. I took many pictures in memory of the cruise, and when I look at them, I recall this marvelous trip. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Right now, we're going to have a representative from the Jewish Family Services Connect program who will be making a presentation, Terry Sajret, and she's going to have a presentation for the board.
Terry Shadrat is the coordinator of the Connect program, and she brought with her today a volunteer for the program, Alex Cantor.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here to tell you a little
Here,
bit.
use your microphone, please.
Oh, I'm pleased to be talking to you today on a microphone from, as Leslie said, the Connect program of Jewish Family Service. And I'm really looking forward to telling you a little bit about the program. And I want to thank the City of West Hollywood for their ongoing support and unwavering dedication to the program. The Connect program serves seniors and adults with disabilities living in the City of West Hollywood. Our goal and our passion is to ensure that residents are able to remain living in the homes and community they love. Providing door-through-door transportation is a key to this mission. Providing companionship and ongoing opportunities for socialization provides a vital component for their health and quality of life. Volunteer matches are carefully made to ensure the success and longevity of each relationship. Deep bonds are formed between each person. Each match is as unique as its participant and volunteer. Volunteers undergo in-depth interview processes, training, and background checks. Many of our matches last for years and are a living example of a win-win experience. Volunteers commit to meeting with their participants twice a month for 2 hours, but many evolve into meeting for much more time and many more meetings. In providing transportation assistance, volunteers drive their matches to the grocery store, the bank, the pharmacy, and other essential errands. Extra help is given to specialized individual needs like carrying packages, getting up and down stairs. Each trip is an unhurried, enjoyable experience with visiting going on in the home before and after the trip. We are currently looking for people who would be interested in volunteering with Connect. Now I'd like to tell you a couple of the stories about our matches. The first is between partners who are dynamic artists in their 30s and a no less dynamic 88-year-old retired server who worked in the finest Beverly Hills restaurants where she rubbed elbows with celebrities of yesteryear. This match is going strong after 6 years. As our participants' health has declined, the couple have gladly upped their commitment to her, delivering groceries and medication when needed and taking her to late-night trips to the emergency room. The three enjoy a similar sense of humor. Amidst all the changes that are going on in this match, laughter is a tie that bonds them together. The second match is between an attorney, a stay-at-home dad, and an 85-year-old retired minister. No longer able to drive or maneuver church services without assistance, with their presence, she is now able to attend Sunday services. In addition to going to church, they go and get a manicure each week like clockwork. With the addition of a 6-month-old baby, there are 4 people now in this loving match. The final match I'd like to share with you is with a baby boomer who's a comedy writer and director. He's matched with a husband and wife team of actors in their 80s. Our volunteer gives the wife a much-needed respite because her husband has Parkinson's. Often the three of them go out together to the grocery store, and sometimes he simply takes them for a spin in his sports car. In a real moment of serendipity, it turns out that the husband actor made a guest appearance in one of the sitcoms that our volunteer wrote and directed and won an Emmy for. So at this time, I'm just delighted to introduce one of our volunteers, Alex Cantor, who will tell you a little bit about his wonderful match. Alex?
Thank you. Hello, so my name's Alex. I was lucky enough to be paired. I'm 27. I'm paired with a 95-year-old man. And originally off the bat, I had a lot of pressure. My 95-year-old man had been in the program before, but his volunteer moved away to New York. So I was put into the spot of trying to keep the bar as high as before, because I know that they had a lot of fun. So every week or every other week, what we do is I typically pick him up. He goes to the grocery store, we go pick up the groceries, and then we always find a new place to go get ice cream. Well, it's actually a treat for both of us. And it's just a lot of fun being with someone who was around before the iPhone, before the internet. It gives me a new lease on life. But he's truly become more than, it's not community service, it's not volunteering, it's more of meeting up with a friend every other week. He came over to my house for Mother's Day. He's not Jewish, so I took him to his first Passover Seder. It's really a lot of fun. My family, I think, is growing more fond of him than of me. I'm not going to be in town for Father's Day, but they invited him. So, but everyone enjoys him. It's become a lot of fun. I was lucky enough to meet him through the program and through a friend of mine who was joining the program. She said, Alex, this sounds like something you'd like to be a part of. And lucky for me, I found my 95-year-old friend who I have a good time with every week. And I think anyone who has a grandson, a young friend, anyone who it takes 2 hours every other week, 4 hours a month. It's no time. It's easy, it's fun, and it's fulfilling for both of us. So I enjoy it.
Great. Thank you.
Very much. Alex is reminded what keeps us all young, and that is the opportunity to have good friends, be they younger or older than ourselves. Okay, in a moment we're going to have a senior story from Dr. Frank, but before we do, a reminder that there is another public comment session coming up, and at this instant I don't have any public comment slips. So if anyone wants to dash back to the table quickly, there's still an opportunity, but right now Dr. Frank will read Traveler from the 2017 Senior Stories We Hope publication. Dr. Frank?
Before Frank speaks, I just want to say, Alex, there's a word for you. It's called mensch.
So the title of my poem is Traveler. And you'll hear the word 80th in the poem because I'm preparing for my 80th, which will be in December. So this is the poem, Traveler. At the 80th post, she scanned the map for Earth and altitude, bent on the accomplishment of the ascent. Explorers and seekers who went before told of crags, frosts, fatigue, the breathless exhilaration of height. Suddenly, the whirlwind in her brain exploded with sweet sonatas, seasons of love, frights, collapses, rejuvenations, and the passion to complete the journey. She reflected, why now from this 80th post continue on? Is it the nagging ego, the need for a footnote in history, the golden quest? Why not accept the stillness and submission of the Buddha, some serene long sleep? With all this unexplained, I am driven by an inner flame. I am the traveler. Thank you.
I don't have any public comment slips, so I guess everyone has said everything that they want to. We can only presume that they have. And we now have an opportunity to have items from the board, and our board members will have comments about today's proceedings so far. And then shortly after that, we're going to have Pat Dixon will be reading a poem, a story called Poetry Class. But first we'll have comments from the board, and this time we'll start down at the other end of the board with Barbara Krupa. And thoughts on today's goings-on?
No, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy to see the people that are here. I hope that they've enjoyed the meeting. This board has become very important to me, and from the very beginning. And one of my highlights was when I had invited all the women for a potluck dinner at my house so that we could get to know each other on a different level. And I'm glad I did it then, because I don't think I can do it now because I'm past 80, and it gets a little difficult. And I used to love to entertain, but maybe soon. All of the women will come to my house and cook.
Thank you, Barbara.
I'm just glad to be here. Thank you.
Sophia?
What can I say? I told all of you that I don't like to be an outsider. My motto in life, to be involved. If something it happens, I would be always ready to stay there and do everything that I can to help.
Thank you, Sophia. Esther, your thoughts from today?
Yes, I'm really interested in exercise for seniors. There's a program now Thursday and Fridays at noon at the senior center for to prevent pain from arthritis. I am the only student in the class. I think this is because of the charge, which seems nominal to people in their 30s who are working, but really is the difference between eating or not to a senior at $5 a class, $10 a week. I would like to put on the agenda for the next meeting that we discontinue charging seniors for all the exercise classes at the center. I think it's very essential to staying in place for seniors that they learn how to exercise and prevent arthritis pain.
Thank you, Esther. Joy?
Councilmember Horvath obviously had done her homework. She mentioned involvement of each one of us on the board. Both Pat Dixon and I are active with the Friends of the Library, and we work across the courtyard in the Friends of the Library store. It's so important to recognize how fabulous our library is with, of course, we've mentioned all the senior activities, but there are so many activities that the library puts on, and the books that we get donated in the Friends of Library store are absolutely incredible. We have everything from dollar throwaways to collectibles, rare, wonderful volumes that get donated. It's one of the involvements in West Hollywood that I so enjoy, and I was glad Councilmember Horvath mentioned the library when she recognized us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, John?
I really enjoyed these past activities for this month, the Senior Health Fair and the connection meeting we had yesterday. It's so nice to talk with other seniors and actually, do something. If you can help them get an exam, or if you can help get ideas of how we can get together. So I really appreciate this month. It really is an exciting month, and you're never too old to participate in this town. That's what's so good. You can participate, so get out there. And just on the national level, you know, President Trump's budget for 2018, he wants to do drastic cuts to the Social Security disability insurance and to Medicaid. So call your representatives. We cannot let these cuts be made to us, to our seniors, to our fellow brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Pat, your comments from today's meeting.
Thank you all for being here. I think this has been a really wonderful group. We did meet yesterday, and it was a wonderful experience as we talked about ideas of how, you know, the things that we can do that would bond us. You know, it's just, you know, like Dr. Frank said, I mean, it's shocking to me as I age, all the things that I can't do, but even more surprising are the things I can do. And I love what John said about we have to speak up about these cuts. And also, I volunteer in the bookstore, and that is a wonderful, wonderful experience. And like Joyce said, we get great books. We get great people. And in the library, I noticed, like on Saturday, they have a coloring session. Now, you don't have to be a senior, you have to be like 5 years old. You could be 105 years old. It's open to everybody. And that's what I like about the library and West Hollywood. It's a very open community. So thank you all for being here.
Bernice.
Thank you all so much. Terry, I was so pleased to see you on the agenda today. It was just wonderful. As Pat mentioned, yesterday was a very good meeting that we had. It was more than I thought it was going to be, to get all the ideas, just talking about all these ideas. And while we were there, Terry, I spoke about our program, and I hope that you'll find someone for me. I am kept quite busy where I'm living. We have many, many great activities. I'm even learning Spanish. And so I'm busy there, but the program is the greatest. And I look forward to coming to this meeting, even though it is only once a month, and I wouldn't miss it. And I hope I'll be able to be here for a long time in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernice. My thoughts on today are that this is an example that everyone has expressed so far on the board, and that is you need involvement. You need to do things because you are part of what's being done. And as John brought up a moment ago, the budget for 2018 has been shown before us, and if it inflicts upon you, if it harms you, if it doesn't support you, you need to let your representatives know. You need to let them know at all levels of representation. We have our own city council that we can advise. We have our assembly person for this area, who is Richard Bloom. We have our congressman, who is Adam Schiff, and I think you've all heard the name Adam Schiff recently. Yeah. He is a wonderful person. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we have also our state senator, Ben Allen, who is up in the Sacramento area fighting just as hard for us. So we have two federal senators, Senator Dianne Feinstein, whom I've known for years, and our newest senator, Kamala Harris, who's a wonderful person in her own right. Harking to other wonderful people, the lady that presented the award to Dr. Frank in behalf of Sheila Kuehl, I have known Sheila Kuehl for 53 years. We graduated from UCLA together. We were both only 2 or 3, I'm sure, at the time, but 53 years is a long time. And it all comes from being part of the community that you are in, which in our case is the senior community, but it's also the city and community of West Hollywood, that of Southern California, and this nation. So at this moment, we have the opportunity to hear Pat Dixon, who is a member of the board, and she will read poetry class from the 2017 Senior Stories.
So we did a writing workshop for seniors with our city poet, and Pat was in the workshop, and she was great.
Monday morning, I wake up excited. Today, I'm going to take a class in poetry given by the Poet Laureate of West Hollywood. I can't wait. Not that I love poetry or anything like that. Although when I was younger, much younger, I did recite Dylan Thomas and E. Cummings and T.S. Eliot, but poetry was never a great interest of mine. But this class, I thought, would give me an opportunity for mind expansion, open up a new world for me, especially since I feel my world is getting stale and I'm running out of good ideas to keep myself entertained. Too frail to travel, too arrogant to make many friends to replace the friends that have recently died. I thought perhaps writing poetry would bring out the softness I knew I had hidden somewhere. Perhaps the bitterness in my soul would evaporate, so off I went. Class was filled, of course, but Corey, who runs these workshops, was kind enough to give me a pad, a pen, and a seat. The poet laureate, whose name I forgot, but actually never knew, is a bright, energetic woman with a good sense of humor. We hit it off right away. The whole class, I thought, immediately bonded. Did I imagine this? I don't think so. The poet laureate explained poetry to us, even read us 2 different poems and discussed them. I was really feeling connected with the world of poetry. Then she gave us an exercise. 4 words, she said. I'll give you 1 word at a time, and then you just write freehand or wild hand for 3 minutes, put anything down that comes into your head. Uh-oh, I thought. Number 1, my handwriting is really abominable, and new ideas haven't come into my head for some time. But there it was, the assignment. After she gave us the first word, I put the pen to paper, and all of a sudden, words went swimming in my head. Ideas flowed through my fingers, and I wrote fast and furiously. Too soon the bell rang, and we had to put the pen down, sort of reminding me of the cooking shows where they say, knife down. So I lingered at the last word and stopped writing. Next, she gave us a second word, and so I wrote, and actually cramped my hand since I couldn't write fast enough. And then the third word, same thing, and the fourth. I was breathless with my talent. I daydreamed I was going to be discovered as a new poetry writing sensation. I smiled inwardly to myself. Who knew, I thought, the genius that lived in this little head of mine. I even imagined my photo on the monthly poetry magazine, if there is such a thing. It would read, an older citizen gets top prize as the new poet of the year. I would decline a visit to the White House, postponing it until someone decent took over, perhaps Elizabeth Warren. Anyway, you can see how excited I had become. Then out of my reverie, the poet laureate says, okay, that was very good. Would anyone like to read their poem aloud? Because, she said, that makes a difference. When you read a poem out loud, you get a full sense of what you have written, and then you can edit. Not me, I thought, with these fantastic images in my poems. I would never be asked to edit. And so, of course, my shyness disappears when she asks, who would like to read? My hand shoots up, my face beams. I can hardly sit still in my seat. I was practically giggling at myself. I was so happy. I had finally discovered myself. Pat Dixon, poet emeritus laureate, or whatever honor would be bestowed on me after my reading. And so I read and read and read some more. And my words, my rhythm, my images, oy vey, they are terrible. I was terrible. I can't believe what I was reading, even through the lousy handwriting. Everyone else reads their poems, short, profound, touching, thoughtful. At the beginning of the class, thinking that we would be another Bloomsbury group, I suggested we meet every week. Now I looked around at my classmates. Did I see pity on their faces when they returned my look? I mean, look, these were poets. I was the dilettante. If they do meet again, you can be sure I will be on another quest, perhaps bird watching. I think I have a book from the Audubon Society in my bookshelf. Also, I remember buying a sketch pad and pencils when I thought that would be my calling. Then there's the ukulele, which sits, dust gathering every year with my promise to finally open the tutorial. Another Tiny Tim, I believe. We'll see. Something will come up.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you. Before we turn it over to staff for their items, I want to make sure we all are aware that senior member of the Social Services Department and our board secretary have been here for much of the afternoon, but were not recognized. David Giuni and Kim Patterson. Thank you. And now we have items from staff.
Thank you. I just have one quick item, and John alluded to this earlier when he gave his opening remarks, but we do have this new program, Be Well WeHo, and the series of classes that are being offered as a part of it. And our director, Elizabeth Savage, wanted to be sure that you knew that out in the lobby, there are jar openers and pens to promote this new program, and she promises that anybody who attends one of the classes will get a water bottle. So as with yesterday's event, join in, bring a friend, and we can all be well together. Thank you.
Corey.
I have nothing except after the meeting is over, magically, there will be some treats and drinks that will appear in the lobby after a few minutes. So hang out, because we'll have some little reception out there.
Okay. Very good. Well, just an observation before we adjourn, and that is everything we've heard today, I think reminds us that being involved, taking things into your own hands, and bringing forth yourself and your community with your friends, this is what the board is all about. Whether we're the senior board, whether we're the transgendered board, whether we're the lesbian and gay board, whether we're any of the other various boards of the city, we are the avenues through which involvement flows to city council, and city council takes the actions that are necessary for the well-being of our city. So I think every one of us can look forward to a good year, a coming year, and we will be meeting again on Wednesday, the 28th of June, in the first floor conference community room at City Hall, which is at 8300 Santa Monica Boulevard in our beautiful West Hollywood, California. So without an additional item to consider, I say we are adjourned, and enjoy the reception.